Inventory is up over 10%, homes are sitting for weeks, and prices are flat. These are all signs of a market that's calming down a little bit. The 5-year setup under the headlines, though, is the strongest that this city has ever had. And after many years in this market, I'm breaking down the 5 reasons that Charlotte is set to thrive over the next 5 years. By the end, you'll understand why the people watching from the sidelines are going to wish that they had moved sooner. Reason number 1, Charlotte is the second largest banking center in the country. Most cities grow because of one thing, like a tech boom, a port, or a resource. Charlotte built a different kind of foundation, the second largest banking and finance center in the US, behind only New York City. Bank of America and Truist are headquartered here, Wells Fargo has its major East Coast presence here, and Ally Financial runs a major corporate center right in the heart of the city near Uptown. Together, the Charlotte region has more than 100,000 financial services jobs, with finance and insurance adding thousands of new jobs in recent years. That kind of job base supports housing demand, professional services, restaurants, and the whole local economy in a way that most cities this size don't have. That strength is getting even clearer. In April, only a couple of months ago, SMBC Group, one of Japan's largest banks, announced it's setting up its second U.S. headquarters right here at 301 South College Street in Uptown. They're planning to add about 2,000 jobs by 2032 with an average announced salary of $165,000. SMBC looked across the country, considered major financial centers, and chose Charlotte. That's a major vote of confidence in where this market is going over the next decade. But they're not alone. Capital Group announced an East Coast hub in Uptown for 600 people, and Citigroup expanded its Charlotte presence with more than 500 new jobs. Announced jobs and capital investments have surged significantly heading into 2026. To be clear, these jobs aren't all here yet. They're announced commitments. When you're looking at where a city is headed over the next 5 years, that tells you a lot. High-income jobs at that scale keep demand strong across the metro. They bring relocating households, they fill neighborhoods, and they support price growth in the middle and upper price ranges. Charlotte already has this banking base. Financial institutions from around the world keep choosing to grow here. That kind of confidence says a lot about where we're headed. Now we need to talk about the number of people choosing this area every single day. Before we get into that, if you're watching this from out of state and thinking about making a move to Charlotte, I'd love to be the agent in your corner. I can give you a real breakdown of each neighborhood based on your timeline and priorities. My contact info is in the description below. Now, let's get back to the 5 reasons. Reason number 2, North Carolina is the #1 state in the country for domestic migration, and Charlotte is the engine. That banking foundation is also a big reason that people keep choosing Charlotte. Between July 2024 and July 2025, North Carolina gained more net domestic migrants than any other state in the country. It ranked #1 according to the U.S. Census Bureau data, and Charlotte's getting a big part of that growth. On average, nearly 160 people move to the Charlotte region every day. That's net migration, meaning that real households are leaving somewhere else and choosing to put down roots here. The Charlotte Metro ranked 7th in the country for total population growth between 2020 and 2025, adding nearly 280,000 residents, reaching roughly 2.9 million people. Charlotte also had the largest single-year population gain of any city in the country, bigger than Atlanta, Austin, or Phoenix. And when we talk about the infrastructure being built to handle this growth, you'll see why people keep coming. So what does that mean for the future of Charlotte? Projections from the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance put the broader metro on track to pass 3.47 million people by 2029. That means 300,000 to 500,000 more people needing housing over the next 5 years in a market where inventory is only starting to come back from pandemic-era lows. This kind of demand is hard to ignore because it's not speculation and it's not one company making a bet. We're talking about actual households that need actual places to live. Migration tends to cluster in certain places. People moving from California, New York, and the Northeast aren't spreading evenly across the metro. They're going to the walkable, close-in neighborhoods like South End, Noda, and Plaza Midwood, and established suburbs like Waxhaw, Huntersville, and Matthews. But a cooler market doesn't erase this demand. Those people still need jobs waiting for them, and the job picture here is more interesting than people expect. Reason number 3, the job stack is diversifying well beyond banking. For a long time, Charlotte's identity was finance. Full stop. If you've watched what happens to cities that put too much weight on one industry, like Detroit, Houston, or Las Vegas, you know that that can be a fragile place to be. But banking still gives that region a strong foundation. Over the last several years, the city has added more depth with technology, healthcare, and life sciences. And those parts of of the economy just got a lot stronger. Start with technology. Lowe's established its Global Technology Center in South End, a 23-story building designed for up to 2,000 tech employees. This is a global tech hub in one of Charlotte's most walkable and sought-after neighborhoods. Lending Tree's headquarters is at Vantage South End. Honeywell International, a Fortune 500 company with roughly 100,000 employees globally, also has its corporate headquarters here. The biggest long-term development, in my opinion, is what happened in Midtown. In June of last year, Charlotte got its first four-year medical school. Wake Forest University School of Medicine opened its campus at the Pearl, a $1.5 billion development planned as a life sciences and healthcare innovation district. Before this, Charlotte was the largest city in the U.S. without a four-year medical school, and now we've checked that box. Banking, technology, healthcare, and life sciences are a rare mix for a metro this size. Cities with that kind of mix tend to be more stable than cities built around one industry, and Charlotte's becoming one of those cities right now. One thing I do want to be clear about, the Pearl is still early. This is a long-term development plan. It's not going to reshape the city by next year, but the medical school's open, the first class is already in, and what comes from it is just getting started. That's why the infrastructure being built here is so important. It's what helps growth hold together. Reason number 4, the infrastructure is funded and getting built. Most people look at a city and focus on the jobs and the prices. Fewer people ask the harder questions like, can this city actually handle the growth that's coming? Charlotte has a good answer though. In West Charlotte, Crescent Communities has broken ground on a roughly 1,200-acre development along the Catawba River, one of the largest master plan developments the Carolinas has ever seen. Long-term plans include around 2,300 single-family homes, 2,350 multifamily units, and a full commercial district. The total investment's around $6 billion over the build-out. The first homeowners started arriving in late 2025, and the first apartment complex opened earlier this year. The location's hard to beat too. It's about 5 minutes from the Charlotte Douglas International Airport and roughly 20 minutes or so from uptown under normal traffic. That airport is a big part of the relocation math. Charlotte Douglas handled over 53 million passengers last year, its second busiest year ever. It's American Airlines' second largest hub with more than 190 nonstop destinations. In ACI's 2025 global rankings, it ranked 7th in the world for aircraft operations. That's 7th in the world. Here in Charlotte. When we get to the timing conversation at the end, I'll show you why the market and the long-term infrastructure being built here is telling two different stories to buyers. Now, the airport is still growing. A $608 million terminal lobby expansion was completed in September of 2025. A fourth parallel runway is on track for fall of 2027. The full capital improvement program is a $4 billion plan to keep this airport ahead of the city's growth. For buyers coming in from the coasts, this is a legitimate concern for some. People worry that they'll feel disconnected if they leave, but then they start doing the math. They can fly back to see their family 3 times a year, hop to New York for a long weekend, and still come home to a 4-bedroom house with a pool, fraction of what that same life would cost on the coast. The airport makes that trade feel real in a way that a spreadsheet just can't. Mecklenburg County voters recently passed a $20 billion transportation referendum to address road and transit upgrades. The infrastructure is being funded in real time in response to the growth that's already happening. When you combine all of this with what buyers can still get here for the money, the case for Charlotte becomes pretty clear. Reason number 5, Charlotte still has a meaningful affordability advantage over comparable metros. I'll be honest with you on this one, Charlotte isn't cheap. Prices have roughly doubled over the past few years. If you're moving from a truly affordable market, it's going to feel expensive, no doubt. The better question though is whether this place still gives you more for your money than the other markets pulling from the same relocation pool. Right now it does, and so the value does make sense. The metro median home price is running in the mid 400,000s right now, with Mecklenburg County and single family homes often running above that. Nashville's median is in the same price range, up to right around $500,000. That's a real gap between two southern job markets with strong long-term demand. Charlotte's cost of living runs near the national average. Nashville tends to run above it. So for buyers who are coming from California or the Northeast, the price gap is on a completely different level. The scenario is, okay, a buyer from coastal California sells a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home under 1,000 square feet for north of $1 million. Then they move here and they buy a 4-bedroom home with a pool and a yard in an established neighborhood. So that's a trade that people are making, and Charlotte is one of the only markets left where this is still available. There's also a tax piece, especially for the high-income relocators. North Carolina has a flat income tax rate of 3% 3.99%, with a scheduled reduction coming in 2027. CNBC ranked North Carolina the #1 state for business last year, the third time in 4 years. The business climate here is intentional and it keeps building on itself. The gap with Nashville and the coastal markets is smaller than it was in 2018, and it will keep narrowing as the banking expansions phase in, the river district builds out, and then more of the country catches on. So Charlotte may not stay this affordable forever. The next 5 years could be the window, and that brings us to where you are right now. What this means if you're thinking about buying in Charlotte. This is definitely the pressure that buyers on the sidelines are feeling right now. In the short term, the market is more open to buyers than it has been in years. Inventory's up, homes are taking a little longer to sell, and sellers are accepting a little less than list price more often than they were at the peak. Summer also tends to be slower than peak spring as people are traveling and getting into vacation mode, which means that buyers may have more room to negotiate than they realize. The banking base is still attracting major institutions from overseas, and nearly 160 people a day keep moving here, no matter what the headlines say. A medical school just opened, a master planned community already has its first residents, and the airport ranks 7th in the world for aircraft operations, and it's still being expanded. All of this is happening while Charlotte is still priced below other fast-growing metros. As the SMBC jobs arrive, the river district builds out, and the Pearl grows, demand is likely to catch back up with supply. But it's never a guarantee because real estate never is. It's just what the numbers seem to be pointing to. So based on what I'm seeing with my clients, the announcements coming through, and the city being built around us, I think most people who move here are genuinely going to feel really good about this decision. Charlotte is building the kind of long-term strength that most metros never get, and the people who see that now are the ones who will feel best about this decision in the future. If you're seriously weighing a move to Charlotte and want to talk about what the next 5 years look like for your situation, email me at gracie.griffin@compass.com. I can give you a clear picture of what's available and what would make sense for you. Buying in Charlotte can make a lot of sense, but the contract rules here catch a lot of out-of-state buyers by surprise. So I've linked a video that breaks down exactly what buyers don't expect in North Carolina. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.